Welcome to this presentation about the ProFace EdgeBox HMI powered by Blue Open Studio. In this video, you'll expand into creating a basic project in Blue Open Studio for the EdgeBox. We will also illustrate an out-of-the-box stepped approach and show how to update the firmware and system files in the EdgeBox. For more basic information on the EdgeBox, please refer to this previous video. I will post a link in the comments. For this scenario, we'll illustrate a new STM6000 IoT EdgeBox out of the box. We will create a small project and transfer it from the development environment to the box. First, we need to establish a connection between the development PC and the EdgeBox utilizing the box's HTML server interface. In this server interface, at minimum, we'll need to enable transfer mode so that we can transfer our project from the Blue Open Studio development environment into the IoT box. For this example, we will use an Ethernet connection between the development PC and the box. Alternatively, a USB to Mini B cable can be used. Okay, so let's get into it here. Going to go to my browser, and you can see I've got my browser pulled up here already. And you can see the Ethernet 1 port on the unit out of the box has a IP address of 192.168.1.80, and the second port is actually disabled out of the box. So this unit I'm connected to a unit now which is essentially in an out of the box state. When you first connect to it, it's going to tell you that you have to set a password. The username is fixed at admins, and we're going to create a password. You have to create a complex password between 8 and 64 characters, as this is indicating. And we'll submit that. And then we've created the password. And now we're going to log in with it. Okay, so you see when we first go into the hardware configuration in the unit, it's going to tell us what firmware it has. This current as of today, as of February 2023, this is the current firmware version 1.1. You'll see that it's telling us that the runtime does not exist and it's waiting for a download, or the runtime basically doesn't have any files loaded into it. Here you could see the status of the Ethernet ports. Here's my 1.80 that I'm connected to, and you could see that the second Ethernet port is disabled. So like I said, there's other information, documentation, and videos that are going to explain all the different things in these different menus. For what we're doing for this video, we just basically want to go in here to the download tab, and then basically all we're going to do is we're going to enable download. So basically we're telling the unit that it can accept a download. We're going to submit it. That's after reboot. So I'm going to go up here. You'll notice if you go in the upper right hand corner here in the browser, you can actually reboot the unit. And then you see if you have a unit, you will see that the LED will flash, etc. And the unit will go through a reboot process, which does take about 1 minute. So now let's re-log in to confirm that the unit is back online. Okay, and you can see the status is the runtime does not exist, or it's waiting for a download. Please download runtime. So that tells us that the unit is up and running. We have our status, etc. So I'm just going to log out of the hardware configuration from here. Okay, so now let's switch to the editing environment in Blue Open Studio. Okay. So I've opened Blue Open Studio here, and this is normally when you open Blue Open Studio for the first time, the PC demo app is the app that should be opened. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to start a new project. Okay, we're going to give it a name. Okay. And we're going to pick the one of the embedded licenses here from the beginning, and we'll pick the 500 and tag embedded Blue Open Studio basic license. Okay. Now we'll just go make a screen 1024 by 768, for example. Mm, We'll bypass security for now, just for this example. Okay. And now we've created the base project. So first, let's add a communication driver and its settings so that we can actually simulate talking to a PLC. So we're going to go to the Communications tab under Drivers. We're going to right click. We're going to add and remove drivers. And we're just going to do a Modbus connection because I'm going to just run a Modbus simulator on my computer. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to the Modbus TCP driver and I'm going to select that into the project. Click OK. All right, and then I'm going to call up the driver sheet. And then to some extent this video is assuming the audience knows a little bit about Blue Open Studio, but in general we know that to always see the syntax of the entries for the different driver sheets can be found in the help manuals for the drivers. So I've called that up here. You could see you've got tag name. The station is in this format: IP address, port, station number, and then the different Modbus prefixes, and then the address after that. Okay. So we'll just start it out. We'll just start with this. We'll just do something here. We will um, write the second tag out to a station. And the Modbus slave is going to be at 192.168.1.200 colon 502 colon 1. And the IO address is going to be a holding register for X colon 1. Okay. And then we'll add some more tags. We'll just add, say new, say int my int 1. We'll do another int my int 2 and a third int 3. Okay. Back to the driver sheet. We'll take a copy. Paste. 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 2, 3, 4. My int 2. My int 3. And that's basically all we're going to do for the driver sheet. So I'm just going to save and close it. Okay, now that we've created the driver sheet, let's create a screen to hold a few objects so that we can see the values pass back and forth to the Modbus simulator. So I'm going to go to the Graphics tab under Screens. I'm going to insert a screen, give it a name. We'll call it Main. 1024 by 768. We'll leave everything else the same. Click OK. Okay. So now that I've created my screen, first thing, how about let's look at that second value. So let's go in here and we'll tie this to the second. Okay. And then let's just grab some symbols. And we'll grab a heater. Go to the screen. And we'll also tie that to second. Okay. Native symbols again. Let's go get a slider. Slider. We'll tie this to my int 1. Okay. We'll copy my int 2. My int 3. And then let's just put, I'll make a copy of this also. My int 2. My int 3. Okay. We'll close out of that. Okay. Let's save and close the screen. Give it a name of main. We'll close the symbols. So now I could actually run this project here in my local environment and actually have it from my computer actually go out and communicate to the PLC, even though I haven't downloaded the project into the Edge box yet. So let's test that. So what I'll do is I'll go in here into the watch window and I'll just add our tags. I'll just scroll up. Okay. Okay. Let's add these to the project or to the watch window. Okay, so now with my Modbus simulator running, let me just show you that here. You'll see, let's move this out of the way a little bit. So you can see the server is listening. And so let's start the project. The screen should come up over the top. Here's the Modbus, and you can see we're communicating. We've got the second being sent to holding register 0. If I increment the, you can see the values being passed back and forth. Okay, so you can see we've got a working environment from our computer. So the next step is that we have to download this into the Edge box. So let's just move this out of the way, and then I'm going to stop the project. So now, in order to load this project and its related system files into the Edge box, we do that through the remote management connection in Blue Open Studio. So under the remote management ribbon, under the home ribbon, under remote management, we're going to place connect, and we're going to put in the IP address of our Edge box, and then we're going to connect. And you'll see connected to a remote device, HMI runtime. You can't see the entire message here, unfortunately, but you can see the word not. And here you go down here, you can actually see what platform you're running on. Okay, you can see this is the project path where we have it on our computer, and you can see we have, since we haven't loaded anything, then the project is currently stopped. Okay? So because this is the first time we've loaded into the unit, we know that we need to send down the system or runtime files. So we're going to make sure, so I'm going to just uncheck this box. I'm going to clear the only newer files, and we're going to say we need to install the runtime files first before we send the project files. So we're going to install the runtime files. Okay, and then this does take a fair amount of time. Okay, so now we've finished transferring the system files, and what you can see is that it automatically disconnected from the remote management tool. So I'm just going to click OK. Let's add some functionality. So currently we've got the system files in the box, but because this unit has no screens, we actually, in order to visualize the screens, we need to do that through a web browser via HTML5. So let's publish the screens as HTML. So they'll be published to the web server inside the unit. So I'm going to right click on the screens folder, and I'm going to save all as HTML, just our one screen. It's going to enable the server module. Okay. Get a warning about security. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to enable mobile access. Okay. And in here, and we're going to have some area. We're going to add the main screen to mobile access. And then we can put a widget here on the second, just to illustrate how a circular widget is working. Okay, so we're going to save the mobile access. So now we have the project basically the way that we need it to run, and also serve up its screens has HTML. So we're going to connect back to the unit. Okay, and you can see it has a runtime, so we do not need to install the system files. Let's go to the project tab. All right, and we're going to uncheck the only newer files. You can see the project is not running. So let's download the project files. Okay, files were sent successfully. So now let's put the unit into run, and you can see the project was started. Okay, and then we'll disconnect. And then note, because this is the first time that this unit has received the system files, you will need to do a reboot of the unit to get it into run, basically. So what I did is I pulled the plug and I've rebooted the unit now. So now the unit is up and running, and we can check real quickly. We can look at our Modbus traffic, and you can see indeed here's the second being transferred. You can see I'm not running locally. This is coming from the edge box right now. Okay, so that's the Modbus. So now let's go to our browser. And in this case, we're going to the same IP address. This is where we want to view the visualization in our browser for the screen. You could see it's the same address as we use for our hardware configuration, but we're just going to use the simple ME URL to get into the screen. We don't have a username or password set up, so I'm just going to log in. Here's the standard uh, mobile access, generic landing page. Go to screens, go to main, and here you can see our screens. Here is our second coming in. We'll just pull up our Modbus communications here, and then you can see as I adjust this, pull this down. Okay, see the Modbus addresses following our sliders. Okay, so thank you for watching this video about the new basic setup, or the basic setup of the new STM6000 EdgeBox HMI. Thank you for watching.